everybody, welcome back. It's Mob Vlog. Mr. Red Wemette, how are you doing today?
I am doing fine on April 19th, 2029. 23.
2029? Wow. 23. How late were you up last night? Hey,
it's a long story. I got poked in the eye this morning.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Are you okay? Well, today, we're not going to joke a little. We're going to joke a lot, because that's who we have with us today. And for those of you who don't know who Red is, he's a smut peddler. That's right. Puddle Smut. He had a bookstore in Chicago with an adult theme, and the Chicago outfit muscled him. And he became a mole and got some of them in trouble. So that's who Red is. In case you're wondering, and it's your first time in here, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hello, Joe Cullotta. How are you today?
Hi, Adam. How you doing? Hello, Red. How are you?
Good, Joe. I love that smile.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
So we got some stories, and over the last couple of weeks, Joe was on a couple of weeks ago, and we've collected some more stories as Joe's thought of them and talked it all out, and we want to bring some of them to you guys today. So, Joe, tell us about Dominick Cortina.
Big Dom. They called him the large guy. He was a nice man. So he did time with my brother in Terre Haute. And when he got out, I think it was 1974, he started to come by me for haircuts. I cut his hair until he passed away in 1999, I believe he passed away. So I cut his hair for 25 years. And Dom was one of the largest bookmakers in the city. So one day I'm cutting his hair and a friend of mine calls on the phone, John. And John belonged to a tout service. I don't know if anybody knows what a tout service is, but they tell you games to bet and you pay. So John and Victor belonged to this tout service. They paid $5,000 a year. And they would give you games every week to bet, football, whatever. So after they make their bets, they call me and tell me, if you want to make a bet, here's who they like. I wasn't a big bettor. I was like $25 or $50 bettor. But they were bigger bettors. So Dominick's in my chair. So they call me up with the lock of the week. And every year, this tout service, it was called Score. They were out of Philadelphia or Pennsylvania. So they call me up and they tell me. So I tell Dominick, I said, here's the three picks. They're a 6-star pick, an 8-star pick, and a 10-star pick. So in other words, if you're a $100 bettor, bet $600, $800, or $1,000. So I tell Dominick, I go, Dom, and not that I want to get in your business, but this is who they like this week. So you might want to adjust your line on these games. They haven't lost in 9 years in a row. Dominick tells me, Joe, I love those tout services. I go, you love them? He goes, yeah. It turns the $100 bettor into a $500 bettor. He says, I live in Oak Brook. I drive a Lincoln. My wife drives a Mercedes. My kids drive new cars. He says, I love those. They may beat me one week, but I beat them. In the long run, I beat them all the time. I go, wow. So I tell him what the picks are. He don't do nothing about it. So I call my brother in Vegas. He's in Vegas at the time with Tony. And I go, Frank, I go, this tout service, this is who they like. And I tell them 6-star, 8-star, 10-star, and I give them the games. They were college games. So I bet, my brother bets, and he tells Tony. But my brother bets 1,000, Tony bets 5, 10, 20,000 a game. Tony was a real large bettor. So the first game loses. So my brother calls me, you know, that first fucking game lost. Don't worry about it. Bet on this. That was a 6-star play. The 8-star play will win, And the 10 star, they haven't lost in 9 years. The next game loses. My brother calls me up and goes, the little guy's getting kind of mad. Both games lost. The last game's got to win. They can't lose. The last game loses. My brother calls me up. He's infuriated. Tony wants to know where these guys are from. He wants to go visit them. He's pissed. He says that he's pissed because he listened to me and you listened and I listened to you and he's so pissed over this. I said, Frank, they all lost. What am I going to do? That weekend I lost $880, which was unheard of for me because I'm not a big bettor. I think Tony lost probably $30,000 that weekend. He was upset, really upset. But you can't trust them tout services, you know. But anyhow, I got them from a good friend of mine. But they ended up going on and winning the next year. But that weekend they lost after 9 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, for those
your
of you
luck. Your luck. 9 years they don't lose. One time you sent it to Las Vegas and they lose.
Yeah.
Terrible. So for those of you that are just coming in, this is Red Wemette. He was a smut peddler in Chicago. Hey, gotta love the porn business. Down here we have Joe Cullotta. Joe Cullotta is Frank Cullotta's younger brother. For those of you who don't know, he was a barber in Chicago, and he took care of and cut hair of a lot of guys who were associated, some guys who were made guys, even police officers. And he's got, does Joe have the stories? The football bets in Philadelphia. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's a true story.
Unbelievable. Tell us about the Colony House, the clothing store.
Oh,
Yeah.
There was this kid. His name was Teddy. He was a beautician, and he wanted to be a burglar. So he started trying to get close to my brother and Sprotak. So he was hanging around with them, and they're showing him how to break into places or whatever, you know. So there's a clothing store across the street called the 579. It was right on the corner of Grand and Harlem. So one night we're on the corner, and we look in the 579, and there's Teddy inside of the 579 with Sprotak and my brother, and they're taking the clothes out of there, and Sprotak's undressing the Madigan, however you say it, taking the outfit off of the clothes. Oh my God! But anyhow, Teddy went on to be successful at what he did. You know, he worked with them for a while, but that was oh boy, that was in the 60s. Yeah. I've been a barber 55 years. I've been doing hair 55 years. And now I'm in the shop I used to own called The Main Event in Rosemont. And I had a lot of guys come through. No, I'm retired, but I came in here to do a live show in the shop I used to own. I wanted to do it live, and this is a shop that a lot of guys came to. I did Vic Giannotti's hair in here. Vic owned a very successful Italian restaurant. He used to cook for Frank Sinatra. He was good friends with Sam Giancana, Vic. He would go every year, and he would cook for Sinatra in Palm Springs. I don't know if you knew who he was, Red. You probably heard of him, Vic.
I heard of him. I never met him.
Yeah,
but I did hear of him.
Yeah, very nice man. Great. He used to come in my shop here. A lot of guys came here. Like I say, 4 generations, one family. Oh, man.
Hey, Joe, can I ask you?
Joe, are you sitting in a barber chair?
No, I'm sitting in a manicure chair right now.
Okay.
What were you going to say, Red? I mean, Adam?
I got a quick question for you, and you don't have to answer this, okay? But Robert0969's asking this. Did you ever pass any messages between outfit guys or between outfits and guys and cops?
No.
No? Okay.
So, never. No, I never did anything like that. No.
Okay. Just a quick question from one of the viewers.
Never. No.
How about your brother? He told me this story. I don't think that we have it anywhere on on video. I don't think that we ever recorded it. Can you tell us the story about Crazy Bob and the first burglary and
armed robbery? It was an armed
car?
robbery. It was
And
an
that-
armed robbery. When my brother was a kid, Crazy Bob Sprotak came around. He had pockets full of money. My brother was doing little stuff, not making any money. But anyhow, Sprotak told him, come with me and we rob taverns. So they go rob a tavern. So my mother had always told my brother, you can't do anything wrong. You can't get in trouble. You're too easy to identify. You wear thick glasses, short, fat, thick glasses. You can't do anything wrong. She wanted him to be a good boy. Well, he didn't want to be a good boy. So he goes with Crazy Bob and he's going to stick up a tavern. So he takes his glasses off to go. He remembers what my mother told him about wearing glasses. So he walks in the tavern and it's dark. So they got their guns drawn and Bob says, all right, everybody on the floor. And he fires a shot in the ceiling. Everybody gets on the floor. Now my brother's got a gun and there's a coat rack with a top coat hanging there on a hanger with a hat on top of the coat rack. So my brother starts hollering at the coat rack, did you hear what I said? Get on the floor. And he's pointing a gun at the coat rack. Get on the floor. Naturally, the coat rack's not moving. My brother takes his hand with the gun and he slaps the coat rack with the gun in his hand. The coat rack falls. He falls on top of the coat rack. The people in the tavern are laughing. Bob he's like, what the fuck? He's got his gun out. My brother jumps up right away. They rob the tavern. They run out of the tavern. My brother could never live that down. He had bad luck, my brother. Bad luck. The people laughed like crazy at that one. That was a funny story. I got another funny story about my brother Robin.
Okay.
He's burglarizing a TV store with his friend, Bud. Bud's dead now. Bud was a legit guy. I think my brother told a story about robbing with Bud. He was legit. So they're robbing a TV store on the south side. And they're inside the store, and this copper's walking by. He's off duty, and he sees two guys in the store closed. So he goes to a payphone, and he calls. He says, there's a burglary in progress, and he names the store. So the cops pull up, and they got the lights on, and my brother's got a record. But Bud don't have a record. So Bud says, Frank, hide. I'll tell him I'm by myself. So my brother says, okay. So he climbs up and he goes into drop ceiling. He's hiding in the drop ceiling. So the cops come in. Where's your partner? Bud goes, I'm by myself. No, you got a partner. He's seen I'm by myself. There's nobody here with me. All right, you're under arrest. Blah, blah. Just as they're turning around to walk out, my brother falls through the drop ceiling onto the floor. So anyhow, they arrested him. And his lawyer was Bob McDonald, who was, I think he was Sam G. Not Sam. He was something to Sam DiStefano. I don't know if he was a son-in-law or a brother. He was something to one of them gangsters. I forget he was. He was my brother's lawyer. So he was supposed to get my brother off. Bud got probation. My brother got a year and a day. He couldn't get him off. But that's kind of luck my brother had. First he slaps a coat rack, then he falls through a drop ceiling. Comedy of errors. A lot of this stuff, comedy of errors.
I'm telling Joe, the TV show must be made.
Yeah. Could you imagine? No, that's never happened to anybody. And these are all documented things. And that cop that arrested my brother, he ended up becoming a warden at the county jail. And years later, when my brother ended up in the county jail and he seen my brother, he tells him, I owe my whole career to you. You were my first big arrest. And that's when my brother was in the county jail. And I think Mooney was in there at the same time. But anyhow, he says, I owe my career to you because of you. When that's how I got to be the warden here, or whatever.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a true story.
For those of you just coming in, this is Red Wemette, and he is or was a smut peddler who was a mole for the FBI in the Chicago outfit. And over here is Joe Cullotta. He was Frank Cullotta, or is Frank Cullotta's younger brother. So, and he was a barber in Chicago. He has stories of all kinds of different people who he cut the hair of. And I have a couple quick questions from the audience for you. We are live right now.
Yeah, they could ask me questions. If I can answer them, I will. I'm not going to put nobody in trouble, though.
Nope. Don Ciccio, D. Porzalo wants to know, Mr. Joe, when Willie used to come in by you, was Chris his driver then?
Chris who? Chris Carty?
I'm imagining so, that if it's the
His
Chris.
nephew Chris? No.
You didn't have
when he used to come in by me for haircuts, either Leo would drive him. This guy Leo owned the Aunt Sally's Pancake House.
Aunt Sally's?
No, Sally's, not Aunt Sally's. Okay. Sally's was on Harlem Avenue. He would drive Willie for haircuts.
Sally's on Harmon. I used to go there.
Yeah, right. I'm talking. Then this other guy used to drive him called Mike Saragusa. They called him Goose.
Yeah.
So it is a funny story about Goose. Okay. Willie always wanted a 1:30 and a 2 o'clock appointment. So he calls up and makes his appointment every 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. So on this one particular Saturday, Goose comes walking in. It's 1:30, and usually Willie would go first. Goose says, "Take me." I go, "Where's Willie?" He goes, "I was out late last night." He says, "I didn't have time to pick him up today." I go, "You didn't pick him up?" He goes, "No." He knows he's got an appointment. And I shake my head because Willie was the kind of guy that if you told him something, you got to do it. So he was supposed to pick him up. He didn't pick him up. He knows he's got an appointment. He'll be here. Okay. So I lay Goose in the back in the sink. I wash his hair. I sit him up. So now it's like 1:35, 1:40. Who comes walking in but like fast walking? Willie. And he goes, "I'm late. The Goose didn't pick me up." And he looks and he sees Goose in the chair. Now, at the time, they used to have brick phones. You know what a brick phone is? Them big phones?
Yeah.
And he goes, Willie looks at his phone. He looks at the brick phone, and he looks at Goose, and he goes, "Do you know what this is? This is a telephone. When you're supposed to pick somebody up and you can't be there, you call them with this." Now he takes the brick phone, and he hits him in the head. Not once, not twice, 3 times. I back up. Hits him 3 times. Willie's at like 80 years old at the time.
Wow.
Yeah. He hits him 3 times with the phone. Now Willie turns around and walks out. And Goose got tears in his eyes. He's crying. He's embarrassed, you know. And I go, "Man, you're lucky this wasn't 30 years ago." There's him. "Yeah, why do you say that?" I go, "He'd still be hitting you till he seen blood." Like that. And Willie sat down and he forgot about it. Then it was his turn. He came into the room like nothing happened. You know what I mean? That's how Willie was. Willie, I got along with Willie. He was good with me.
You got a story about the pizza oven?
Oh, Dino. Our friend, you know Dean. He was on your show one time.
Oh, he drove me to the airport.
Yeah. Dean used to work at Armand's restaurant in Elmwood Park. All the wise guys used to meet. Now all the bosses used to meet there on Tuesdays at 2 o'clock. They'd come and meet there. Paul Rica, Jack, Tony. They would meet there. The place was closed. It wasn't open. Mike would open and cook for them. Dean worked there. So Dean was friends with those, not friends, like he knew them. So Dean, we used to hang at this restaurant, the Coloney House. Greek owned it. And we used to go in there and drive this guy nuts, Mr. Anton. And we'd come walking in and he'd go, "Gentlemen, this snowball is getting bigger. I must call Willie." And he'd call Willie. Willie'd call me, he'd pull up with Al Sarno and Dickie Carty, and they'd get out of the car and Willie'd come in and he'd start hollering, throw us out. So we're across the street. We go across the street and Dean goes, "I'll fix them." They leave, right? Dean calls the fire department. He goes, "There's a grease fire in the kitchen of the Colony House restaurant." It's Friday night, Fire trucks pull up. They come running out with their axes. They go running. Anton, where are you going? Where are you going? Fire. And there's no fire. There's no fire. Dean's across the street laughing. Anton sees him. He calls Willie. The Greek boy, Dino. He called the fire department. They come running in my restaurant with axes. The next day, Dean's in Armand's. He works at Armand's. Willie comes in there. He chases him through Armand's. You're going in the oven. He wanted to throw. This is true. You can get Dean on the show. He'll tell you. He wants to throw Dean in the pizza oven. Oh my God, that's true. That's a true story. He wanted to put him in the oven.
Wow.
Colony House. Everybody hung at the Colony House. The guys from Brandon Ogden would come there late at night. We were younger guys, but the older guys would come there. Oh my God.
Joey went in there.
Huh?
Joey went there a lot. Joey Lombardo went there.
Yeah, he went there, yeah. Came there. They all came. Everybody came there at night.
Quickly, Peter Faulkner, thank you very much. Appreciate your super sticker, and glad that you're enjoying the show. This is Joe Cullotta. This is Frank Cullotta's younger brother. And over here is Red Wemette. He was a smut peddler in Chicago who was a mole in the FBI. You know, it's kind of interesting in the comments. I'm reading them as this show's going on, and people are going, I can't believe that there's a Cullotta and a Wemette on the same show. It is a crazy dichotomy. And so there's a lot going on in the comments. So thanks for your participation, guys. Joe, you have a Sam DiStefano story. You told me one once. I remember it.
About the birthday party?
Yeah.
With the Khrushchev?
All that?
It was a birthday party, and it was in it was one of his daughters in the basement. So a bunch of the guys in the basement were down there. We don't know about gangsters. This is like 8th grade graduation or something. Sam comes walking down the stairs in his robe with the cigarette holder. These are very smart kids. Good. He takes out a wad of money. He says, anybody that could spell Khrushchev, I'll give $1,000. So George Labrie, one of the guys we grew up with, says, he was the prime minister of Russia at the time or whatever he was, Khrushchev. George goes, Kruchev, whatever he spells it. Give me the $1,000. Sam goes, he didn't say capital K. He turns around and he walks up the stairs. Hey, where's the money? He wants the money. He didn't get the money. The daughters are like, hey, don't say nothing. Just forget it. We're like, we want our money. But anyhow, that was the story about Sam.
Gosh. These girls keep walking past in the background. Who are these girls?
These are the girls. The one girl worked for me for 30.
Introduce them. Come on.
Karen, come and say hello. That's Karen. She worked for me, and this is her client.
Hi, Laura.
Laura on this side.
Hi.
Karen's been with me 31 years.
I thought you were going crazy talking to the wall.
No. Some people think I'm crazy, Laura. This is my old salon that I used to own for all of them years. And it's in Rosemont. And the main event. And remember one thing, everybody. I was the main man at the main event whose main concern was your main. What floor was I on, Adam?
Main floor.
I was on the main floor. That was my slogan.
And that shop didn't happen to be on Main Street, did it?
No. It's on River Road, 6111.
That would have been perfect if it was Main Street.
Yeah, right? Oh, my God, that would have been great.
That would have been great. So speaking of hair and all these years that you did hair, Butchie Petrocelli came in once.
Oh, my God. That was by Igor's shop. This is a true, I'm not going to exaggerate. I'm not going to embellish or nothing. This guy, Louie, who used to run a bar boot game for Butchie, brings Butchie in. I know who Butchie, I know who Butchie is. I don't know Butchie, but I know who he is. I know what he's capable of. Butchie comes in, he says, I want my hair straightened. He had like wavy hair. I said, okay, we use Cavato. That's a hair product. He says, I've had that used on me before. He says, I said, no, it works. If it's done right, it works good. So I put it on, and you got to keep combing it. And I'm combing it, and it stays on 20 minutes. Now his head's getting red. I says, his forehead's getting all red, his head's getting red. I said, it's time to take it off, Butch. He goes, don't take it off, leave it on. I go, it's going to burn your scalp. I don't care, leave it on. I'm combing, now it's getting redder and it's blistering. His head's blistering. Igor comes walking in the room, he goes, should I go get unguentine? Unguentine was a cream they use for burns. He goes, should I go get unguentine? So I says, yeah. So I end up leaving it on his head 45 minutes.
Oh my
More
God.
than twice as long on his head. His head was beat red. We put the unguentine on. 2 days later, Louis comes in. Louis Panos was his name. He comes in. I says, hey, Lou, how's Butchie with his hair? I know his scalp was real red. He goes, he's got to wear a hat. Got to wear a hat. He goes, you burned his head real bad. He's got to wear a hat. It's all scabs. I go, oh, my God. Now that I think back on it, maybe I shouldn't make this remark. I was probably the first guy to burn Butchie's head.
Oh,
God. Oh
That's
my
not-
God.
That's not a good thing to say, but
Oh my gosh. All right, so that I just quickly that Panos. Well, Joe, tell us the story about the Seraphine and his book.
oh, Danny Seraphine, the drummer from the group Chicago. He
Yeah,
was a customer. He used to come by Igor's all the time, Danny. And it's in his book. Danny Seraphine talks about Igor's barbershop, saying, when I was a kid, I heard about Igor's shop where all the wise guys went, all the big shots went there. He said, I wanted to go there. So he asked his friend, take me to Igor's shop. So he started coming to Igor's shop. And he writes about it in his book. Street Player is the name of Danny's book. I was friends with Danny. He was a nice kid. He was the drummer in the group Chicago for, I think, 16 or 17 years. He started with that group. And he was with them till then. He's not with them no more. He's got his own group. I don't know where they're at. Maybe California now. But nice kid, real nice kid. He had a book, Street Player. Talks about Igor's shop. I got another story about Igor. When
Sure.
Joe used to come in, Joe stayed by Igor until he went away in 1982. I left in 1980, but one time in Igor's shop, Igor says to Joe liked a joke. Joe was funny. Hey, Joe, everybody says we look alike. Joe goes, what? He goes, yeah, people think we look alike. Joe goes, I could spot you 2 plane crashes and I'd be better looking than you. That was one of Joe's jokes. Joe's jokes. Yeah. Oh, my God. Oh, in my shop on Cumberland, they used to see all the guys come in there. They used to all come in there, right? Dominick, Donald, Joe Lumbee. Little Al came there once, Tornabini. He came there a few times. A lot of guys came there. They followed him there, so they thought I was a bookmaker. I'm no bookmaker. I'm a barber. But seeing these guys coming in and out all the time, they thought I was booking, right? So what happens is they start watching the shop. They had a little mobile home, what do they call them? The camper home, parked in the parking lot all day with the camera, and they're watching the place. But what I did was I knew guys who were BMs at the time. And if they'd say, Joe, do you know where I can make a bet? I'd say, if I knew the guy and I trust you, yeah, you could call Adam or you could call this other guy. And, I'll call up and I'll make the introduction. I I wasn't making any money doing anything. So I'd introduce them. So they bet. So this one policeman, he was a lieutenant, Chicago policeman, nice guy. He comes in the shop one day. I don't cut his hair, but he comes in because he was recommended to me through another policeman. So he comes in and he goes, "Hey, Joe, I'll be out of town for 2 weeks. I'm going on vacation. Would you tell so-and-so that if I'm up, hold the money, and if I'm down, I'll pay him when I get back?" I'm like, "Sure, no problem." He shakes my hand and he leaves. So they're watching outside. So the girl in the gambling unit goes, "He just made a hand-to-hand with Cullotta." And they take his plate number and the guy goes, "That's Lieutenant so-and-so." I'm not going to say his name. And she says, "We ought to raid his house." They were going to raid my shop or raid my house. She goes, "We got to raid his house." So the guys in the van go, "He's one of our own." She goes, "I don't care." She goes, "Are you telling me I can't do my job?" Now he's nervous wreck, this other cop. He goes, No, we'll do it." So they go and next day they go by his house, the cop's house, or 2 days, whatever. They go by the house. They knock on the door. The guy's mother answers. "We got a warrant to search the premises." Here's her. "You must be mistaken." She goes, "My son's a Chicago policeman. He's a lieutenant. We got a warrant to search the house, lady." She goes to the phone. She calls her son. She says his name. "The police are here. They want to search that. Put them on the phone." "What are you doing?" "Well, we had to do this." This policewoman, Mary was her name. So "We got to search the house." He goes, "We didn't want to do it, but we had to." "Okay, there's nothing in this house." I mean, he came in to tell me he couldn't make a bet, right? Okay. So what happens? He's pissed. Now, but what they didn't know, these cops, was that a friend of mine knew another cop in the unit, and we knew they were out there watching. And they gave me license plate numbers of everybody that stopped by my shop more than once a week. Tell these people not to, if they're doing anything, they're going to get pinched because this girl, she wants to make a reputation. So I tell guys who I think are doing something, don't come here with anything, don't do anything. So they search in this copper's house, they don't find nothing. They're watching my shop. But they tell my friend they're going to raid my shop or raid my house. On Thanksgiving, they're going to come and raid my house. I'm like, my wife will divorce me if they come by my house because my wife is legit as the day is long. So what happens one day, I'm closing the shop up. I lock the door, I turn around, and this girl walks up, pretty girl. And she goes, "Is it too late to make an appointment?" I go, "No, not at all." I open the door, I walk in, a van pulls up, she pushes me, 6 guys jump out of the van. They come running in the shop. "We got a warrant to search the premises." And I knew they were coming. I don't have nothing. I says, "For what?" "Just read the warrant and shut up." Okay. I look at the warrant for gambling stuff. They tip the garbage over. They empty the hampers. They do everything. They empty my, count your money. Well, I have a cash register with a receipt, how much I take in for the day, and it matched. And I had like $100 in cash on me. So they know I'm not gambling in my shop. I mean, they could see it, right? And they're searched the whole place. And now they go through my wallet and looking at my phone numbers of customers, everything. Now they go in there, and I got this envelope, sealed envelope, in my room. And now we got something over here. It's an envelope, it's sealed. I go, "Don't open it, don't open it." "Yeah, we're going to open it." I go, don't open it." They open it up. What's in there? My brother was doing the movie Casino, and he sent me snapshot photos of the scene when they were digging. What? They got the snapshots. I said, oh, I forgot to tell you, my brother's in the witness program. He's a government witness. And these are pictures from the movie Casino. So they said, all right, there's nothing in there. Let's go. I go, ain't you guys going to clean up? Why should we clean up? Have the girls that work for you clean up. And they turn around and they left. But I knew they were coming anyhow. And I wasn't doing nothing. I didn't do nothing there. But they seen all these guys come there. They thought, and those guys didn't even, when they'd come in, they wouldn't acknowledge each other. It wouldn't be like they'd go whisper in the corner. They just, and I tried not to book them at the same times, but say like I was doing one guy and maybe one of the girls was doing another guy. We didn't compare who was coming at what time or whatever, you know.
Wow.
That was funny. But then I didn't have nothing. I didn't do nothing there.
All right, a couple of comments. Luminous Grin. I finally now know what the guy in the movie Fargo was saying. Jugendteen.
Unguentine.
Unguentine.
Unguentine. It's a cream that stops the blisters.
I did not know what that was either, but I didn't know it was mentioned in Fargo. Thanks a lot, Luminous. Joe, y'all had a lot of awful weekend in Chicago with a lot of riots. Wouldn't have happened 50 years ago, I bet.
No, when the police were allowed to do their job. You know, we grew up in, we didn't like police when we grew up, okay? But you respected them, or let's say you feared them. You knew you feared them. You knew you had to behave. You know what I mean? Or you were going to get a crack. If they stop you, they search your car. Back then, we didn't like it, but they did it. You know what? They should still be able to do it. They should still be able to do it.
Yeah. Let them do their job and let
them do it. They got to take the handcuffs off the police. You would have less crime if the handcuffs were taken off of the police.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, even bad guys would say that. I mean, you're not going to get a wise guy riding around with a gun on his car. They're going to ride around with a gun.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it just wouldn't be that, you know. And if they were riding around with a gun, there'd be a car behind them following them, so they wouldn't get stopped. But now these people ride around with guns. I used to cut a cop's hair when I was a cop. He told me they pulled a guy over one time on Division in Austin. 2 squads, they had their lights going. 10 doors away, these guys got out of a car with guns and started shooting up a store while the cops were parked there. You know what I mean? You can't do that. You can't do that. You know what I mean?
No, I mean nowadays it's crazy what's going on. I saw a video yesterday, a woman in a gas station.
I once had him. This is a friend of mine. He's got the flower shop next door to my business.
Adam.
Hey, how's it going?
We watch his mob vlog all the time.
Yeah, I watch it, the Barbershop Confidential. I watch
We're
everything.
on right now.
Oh, you're right now?
You're on right now. You're live with us.
Oh, okay. I'm going to watch myself. Good to
Go
see you,
watch.
Joe.
Go watch. Yeah. Tell your friends.
So,
Okay.
if you guys are just coming in, this is Joe Cullotta, Frank Cullotta's younger brother, and this is Red Wemette. And Red had a bookstore in Chicago and was a mole for the FBI, which is crazy. This weird dichotomy that we have on the show is just, I think, is awesome. Gardino Inc. Said the stories my uncle used to tell me about the burglaries in Vegas were interesting. Him and his buddies lived a crazy life. I think
Gardino Leo. It's Leo.
That's Leo's nephew.
Bubish.
Yeah, it's got to be his nephew.
Leo was a great, nice man. A nice man. I'm very sorry for what happened. He was a nice man.
Still is. I believe he's still alive.
Yeah, I think he is. I hope he is.
Yeah.
I hope he's enjoying his golden years.
Yeah. Randy Rhodes, did you ever have any problems with the outfit after your brother flipped?
No, because I'm not a wise guy.
No,
I'm not a wise guy. I never had any problems. The guys who are supposedly, they respected me for being a gentleman. I kept my mouth shut. Mm-hmm. And when my brother flipped, he told me, Joe, you got to live there. When you become a witness, you're going to have to talk about me in court. You live there with those people. You get up there and tell the truth on the witness stand. Just tell the truth, you know, what kind of person I was.
Mm-hmm.
So I did, you know.
You did what your brother told you to do. I mean,
Yeah, I did what he
no
told
lie,
me to
just
do. I lived there, and they all respected me. After my brother first rolled, a lot of guys quit coming by me for maybe a few months. Funny part about it is Johnny DeFranzo told all his guys to quit coming by me, and he ended up being a dry snitch. And he told all his guys to quit coming by me, and he was beefing for 30 years, you know. But they all ended up coming back by me, you know.
yeah. No, that's
I could tell you, I don't like to throw dirt on people, you know. I could tell you another story about Michael after my brother flipped.
yeah.
He come by the shop right after my brother flipped. I was on Cumberland then.
Mm-hmm.
Could I talk you outside? Yeah. We go outside. He goes, tell your brother, don't talk about my brother. We'll give you enough money to fill an Empire State Building. Tell him don't talk about my brother. Have him beef on Sprotak. Beef on all the burglars. Don't beef on my brother. He's telling me, Michael. I said, Michael, we were raised not to tell on anybody. I don't want my brother talking about nobody. But I can't stop him. He's doing whatever he's doing. I can't control what he's doing. But, I mean, the old saying, there's no honor amongst thieves. There's no honor with any of these people. You know, very few. Let's just say very few. But
So
he wanted
that's
my brother to beef on other people.
that saying goes true then.
It
No
is
honor.
true.
Yeah.
There's
Right.
no
Joe
honor.
never gave up. Joe never gave up Mike. Joe. Frank never gave up Mikey Switek.
Well, here's what happened. Mikey didn't like my brother because my brother did beef, or he did roll. But Mikey, he didn't directly tell on Mikey. My brother and Mikey supposedly did something. I don't know. I don't know if it's true or they. I don't know any of that. And my brother collaborated something that someone else said about Mikey, and my brother collaborated it, and Mikey didn't like that my brother collaborated it. But I know my brother liked Mikey, and he knew Mikey wasn't going to go to jail for it. But he see, once you roll, you have to tell them everything. If you leave anything out, they will turn around and prosecute you for everything. Now my brother didn't want to roll, but when he heard the tape of Tony, what he was going to do to him, talking with whoever he was talking to, that's when he decided to roll. He didn't want to do it. He did it. We were raised not to be that way. You know what I mean? We were raised not to beef. And my brother did it. But he told me, Joey, I'm the one that's got to look in the mirror every day. You know, I don't like what I did, but I did it. And he didn't actually beef on Switek. I guess somebody else did. Someone else knew what Switek did, and something they told on him. And I don't know what it was about. Mikey didn't. He had a little hard on for me for a while because I had words with Mikey, but then we straightened it out. You know, we talked it over. And when Mikey died, I went to his house before he died and cut his hair. Mike was like a big brother to me. You know, Mike. I loved Mikey. You know, Mike was a good guy. It is what it is.
Could you tell us a story about the or you heard about the booze delivery?
The farm. Yeah, my brother was on the farm in Stateville with Switek. Now they had a guard there. The guard's name was Dave. And Dave used to let him make phone calls, and he gave him the right to do a lot of different things when they were, even when they were inside, he let them use the phone when they shouldn't have. And then they went out on the farm. So my brother asked this guy if he would bring a case of booze to the farm. So this guy had a cousin who worked for Gold Seal Liquor. So he asked the cousin, could you give me a case of scotch to bring to Frankie? So he says, okay. So he gives this guy this case of scotch. So this guy's got a 70 Monte Carlo. If you are familiar with it, the seat used to swivel out. You can get in and out of the car easy. So this guy and his friend, my brother tells this guy, when you come there, before you get there, open your car door, take tape, and tape the button so that when you open the door, the light don't go on. And then when you get there, you're going to make a right turn on the street. It's next to the farm. You're going to open the door. The light won't go on in the car. You're going to roll, and you're going to be rolling. And don't hit your brake, because if a guard sees the brake light, they'll know something's going on. And good thing if you tape the button, they won't see a light go on. So not you, but this guy and this other guy went out there with a case of scotch. This was 1970, so it's 53 years ago. So Tommy Durso works on the farm. He works in the powerhouse, so you could be out all night. So this guy goes with this other guy. They get there, they tape the button, they make the turn. When you get to the 13th lamppost, open the door. You'll be almost at a stop. This friend will hand the case of booze to Durso, and then he'll take the booze. Okay. So this guy hands the case of booze to Durso. Durso goes, take me to Michigan Avenue. I want to see the lights. So the passenger goes to the driver, this guy fucking nuts. He wants to go to Michigan Avenue? Start going. So the driver starts going a little faster. Durso is running with the case of scotch in his hand. Now the terrain goes like this here. Up and down a little bit, the terrain goes. So Durso's got the case of booze and he's running and he's up and down. And the passengers go, speed it up. This guy's running 10 miles an hour now. No, it's 15 miles an hour. He's got the case of booze. He didn't fall with the booze. So the guy driving takes off. They leave. And what do you think happened? Durso's the cop that used to work for Pape who beat my brother up in 11th and State years before. Then Durso ended up killing some guy. They were muscling him, this Gargano, and he cut a guy's throat and he got life in prison. And lo and behold, my brother ends up meeting him on the farm in Stateville. So anyhow, Durso had the booze. So the next week, I go visit my brother and I said, Frank, did you tell Durso that the guy driving the car would take him to Michigan Avenue to see the lights? He goes, no. I said, he told the guy that you said it was all right. He goes, I never told him that. He's nuts. He's been locked up too long. He's stir crazy. But I can't say who the driver was. It was this guy and another guy. I don't want to say their names.
Yeah.
It's a true story. Durso ended up getting drunk and smashing up the pickup because he was able to drive a pickup truck on the farm during the day, I guess, when they watched him. But he smashed the truck up. He got drunk and smashed the pickup truck up. He was drunk one day. That's true. That's all documented.
Oh.
These are all true stories.
That's awesome. I want to read one more comment. Go ahead, Red.
Wasn't Mikey Gargano and Durso partners?
Yeah.
They worked together.
Yeah, but Durso was a cop. Gargano wasn't.
No. Mike Gargano got out. He's out of prison and he passed away.
Yeah. My brother said he was probably one of the toughest guys he knew, Mike Gargano.
I agree.
Ryan Brown, great to see you, Joe. God bless you. That's wild about Butchie. Now, if Jasper Campese came in, I was waiting for a haircut. I'd leave pretty damn quick. I don't need him to flap his eyes and beat me to death.
I never cut Jasper. I never cut Jay's hair. I used to cut his grandson's hair and his son-in-law's hair. Certain guys, I didn't cut their hair, but their kids or their grandkids came in by me. Certain guys didn't come in. they had their barbers, which was fine, you know.
Sure. Everybody's got the preference and, you know,
Yeah.
wants. I know I'm the same guy cutting my hair for about 15 years now, and I'll never go anywhere else.
Yeah,
But-
good. I love the loyalty in people. I had a lot. I thank God every day I had such loyal customers, and I had loyal people working with me all these years. You know, I had, like I say, one girl 31 years, another one 25 years, another one over 20 years. They worked a long time for me.
Yeah, loyalty's
I
an
bet the
important thing.
tips were good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a bad thing. Thank you so much for coming
Any
on.
questions? Any questions? Anybody?
I've read some that were in the side here. Red, did you happen to see any that I missed? I read some that I starred here.
I starred a few.
Yeah, I think. Oh, I forgot to ask this. Michael Graham asked this. He asked several times. I'm sorry, didn't ask yet, Mike. Cumberland and what was the cross street, Joe?
It was in between Foster and Lawrence on Cumberland, where Dapper's was a restaurant that was there. Dapper's Family Restaurant. 50/50 Cumberland.
Got it.
I have a
And
question.
hold on, Babatais, thank you for the super sticker. Glad that you're enjoying the show. Thanks for participating. And guys, hit the like button. It really helps.
Hit the like button. Tell your friends, hit the like button.
Brett?
I have a question. Did Pete Chevarelli ever come in?
I know Pete very well. I still know Pete to this day. I know Pete since we're kids. Nice man, businessman. He's a businessman, Pete. He worked for the city for years. Pete's a gentleman. A
He
very
owns the
smart
Rock
man.
Group Chicago.
Yeah, he's their manager. He's a very smart man, Pete. He's a businessman. He's a legitimate businessman. Yeah. I know Pete to this day. I seen him last year.
So Joe, everybody's enjoying this. Would you be willing to come on again, do you think?
Sure.
All right, awesome. We're gonna have to put some more stories together, have you come up with some more, and we'll just do what we did over the last few weeks, and we'll write them down as we go and come up with some more. Guys,
Okay.
if you want to, there is going to be another show coming on in about 10 minutes with Red over on his channel. Be sure to check that out. I have to go do a mob tour today. I have to
I
leave.
love them mob tours, Adam. I love them.
I do too. I love doing them. I love giving them. I love telling the stories. It's fun, isn't it? Storytelling. It's just, people love listening.
And I hope I didn't offend anybody. I try not to. I try not to offend anybody, and I try not to talk bad about any. That's not my MO.
And if I offended anybody, I from the bottom of my heart want you to know that I sincerely and truly do not give a shit.
Thanks, John. Thanks, John.
Hey, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. If you watched live, thank you for participating. It was an amazing afternoon, Joe. Red, thank you guys so much. And if you guys come out here, the mob tour is running, and you guys need to come on it. We get to hear stories about Bugsy Siegel, Meyer Lansky, Jimmy Hoffa. We go past Red Fox's house, Johnny Carson's house, Marilyn Monroe's, one of her residences. We go by the place where they filmed the movie Casino, and you hear never before seen footage of Joe's brother, Frank Cullotta. Have a great day, guys. God bless. See you guys next time. It's been fun. Mob Vlog. Join us for the Vegas Mob Tour. Experience Sin City's dark past. Learn how Bugsy Siegel built the Flamingo. Find out who killed him and why. Hear who Jimmy Hoffa supplied money to back in the 50s. Visit the actual home used in the 1995 blockbuster movie Casino. And other filming locations as well. See the real jewelry store where Frank Cullotta and his crew were busted. Sit in the exact spot where Frank Lefty Rosenthal's car was bombed back in '82. View never-before-seen footage of Frank Cullotta telling personal stories about Tony Spilatro, Joey the Clown Lombardo, and the Hole-in-the-Wall Gang.
This house here used to be Tony's house. It's almost like a peach color. It was brown then. The only thing changed is the driveway.
Here's an offer you can't refuse. Upgrade to the Untouchables experience. Following the tour, you'll enjoy a 3-course dinner at the Tuscany Gardens. And then, VIP seating for the long-running hit, The Rat Pack is Back show. Experience Vegas the way it was meant to be.